when I started on this, the core project was this, the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, making contact. I got dragged kicking and screaming into the Disclosure Project, which started as Project Starlight, where I was doing briefings for the president and CI director and folks like that, because I was told by some folks that you know, you can do this, but there's all this stuff that has to get fixed, because there were tragedies of history in the post-World War II era that should have never happened. And we also have to fix that. So there are 3 legs of the program that I'm running. One is the CE5 initiative, CSETI, Interstellar Contact. The other is Disclosure Project, and the other is bringing out the technologies to basically transform the planet physically. All right, so that evolved, but the one unfolded the other. The reason the intelligence community got interested in what we were doing is that they realized we had figured out the Rosetta Stone of contact. And the friendlies then came to me and said, would you please try to fix this? And then someone asked me to come up and brief the CIA director, and then this person, and then the president was scared to death, and you know, they hit a scalar weapon that knocked down Marine One, that was President Clinton's helicopter. It lifts up in the White House, and the shot was fired across the bow. So I've been doing stuff at that level, PI, presidential intelligence, since 1993. But you know, frankly, that is not where my real passion is. My real passion is what I'm talking about today. And it's in a way sad that we're having this generation, those of us between the ages of puberty and senility, I think everyone here, most of us, are really having to correct a problem from 50 to 100 years ago. Because remember this, high voltage, free energy, they didn't know what it was, technological systems that just generate energy, late 1800s, early 1900s, Tesla, Faraday, Maxwell. EMGs, electromagnetogravitics, where you create a high voltage at a certain resonant harmonic where you get lift, 1920s, T. Townsend Brown. So we could have had world peace, free energy, anti-gravity, no roads, no pollution, no poverty, and a just and peaceful civilization around the time of my grandparents and great-grandparents. All right? But it is still, even though this is my passion, it's also an act of tremendous compassion to fix that problem. Because it doesn't, if everyone's running around enlightened and remote viewing, but we're cannibalizing the planet and destroying it, that's pretty stupid too. So this is all part and parcel of an endeavor. I just want you to understand that. And we're at a point where we got to make it happen. Because, you know, the Earth, the Gaia, is a conscious living entity. Literally, it's female. She's female. It's living, and it has its consciousness. Not human. Don't anthropomorphically project. But it's a conscious living being. And this was really made clear to me in 1990 when I had a contact experience and went out into deep space and actually was introduced to each planet in our solar system. It was really cool. And I realized the Earth, and there was this enormous unconditional love from the Earth that was radiating to me as I was out there. This craft was in our front yard at our house in Biltmore Forest, next to the Vanderbilt Castle in Asheville, North Carolina. And I went, and then I saw Mars. Mars is male. Venus is female. Mercury, I think, is gay. It must be and kind of androgynous. It sort of kind of swings both ways. And who cares? Saturn. So I actually was introduced to each planet. And then I heard that within the planet, each planet, there was not only the consciousness, but a sound. And it sounds corny. It's like the music of the spheres, which is real. And I could actually hear this pure tone coming from each planet that was there. Doom, doom, doom. It was all these different tones. I'm not very musical. You don't want to hear me sing. That's tragic. And so as I heard each one, then I became aware that every star was conscious and was a being and awake. And then each of them had a tone. And I went into a state of consciousness where every single standing wave tone from everything in the creation blended into one pure note, one tonality. It was beautiful. Beautiful. So what I tell people about this is that the cosmos is inside your consciousness. Everything, every level, every structure. And so, let yourself be there. And when you do, then you become this sort of a child of the cosmos who's free to journey. And it's beautiful. We have our bodies, we have our individualities, but we so limit ourselves by not understanding what's really inside us. So the ETs want us to understand that, because we then become children of the cosmos, and not just children of the earth. And this is what I said to the head of Army Intelligence. I said, I belong to the cosmos, a family of cosmic beings. So you don't have any jurisdiction over me. And that's what I told him. Go away. And that gives you such enormous sense of freedom. Never be intimidated. All right? Don't be. Let yourself be free. Be like a child experimenting with these technologies. Because, if you're pure-hearted and, one of the things, can I get choked up talking about this? We're at a time where we cannot limit ourselves anymore. And the future that has been forestalled for 100 years is trying to burst through. But guess what? It isn't going to happen by the ETs landing on the White House lawn. It's going to happen internally through us. And that's what the universe is waiting for. And so creating the world of our dreams, a world where we have free energy, no poverty, true justice, a peaceful civilization that becomes interstellar within a very short amount of time. That's the task at hand. And it's something we can accomplish if we just realize that there's this power within each of us to manifest and create it. But we first have to have the vision of it. If you don't have the vision, where are you going? This is why I'm trying to share this beautiful vision. And that's really what started all this, was contact. And, the whole Disclosure Project and the Orion Project was the project trying to deal with the technologies, was something that was being done because we have to also do that out of compassion for the Earth. Because the Earth is a living, conscious being. And we're killing her. And, there was this enormous unconditional love from the Earth. But there was this sadness. And the Earth was saying, this isn't going to continue for much longer. Because it cannot. You cannot have 7.2 billion people living with coal-fired systems. India, China now have some of the worst air pollution in the world because they're industrializing like we were in the 1800s. How do you fix this problem? Well, not from the consciousness that created it, but the consciousness of our technological systems is a reflection of our inner state. Division instead of unity. Over unity systems are integrative, and they're life-supporting. They don't hurt the Earth. Burning coal and oil, and never mind fission, nuclear power plants, which is basically a steam engine where you're heating water by splitting the atom and causing all the Fukushima-type waste. These are destructive things that cause cancer and air pollution and death and destruction. But that's a reflection of our inner state collectively. So collectively, we need to have a consciousness shift into this higher state of consciousness that is the foundation for these technologies coming out. Why is that so key? Why am I talking about this? Because if we don't have this movement in awareness and consciousness that is holistic and peaceful and is the foundation of universal peace, the technologies will be used for destructive purposes. You can weaponize anything. Now, I'll tell you something. A few years ago, the colonel in charge of future technologies for the Air Force was a euphemism for technologies they already have. You have to understand the double speak and double think of the intelligence community. Pulled me aside and he says, you know, these technologies that you're trying to bring out and that you're exposing can actually be turned into weapon systems. I said, yes, of course. I can take a knife or scalpel and save someone's life by doing something correctly, or I can slit someone's throat or put it through their left ventricle and kill them. We have to do this from a higher state of awareness and purpose. And I told him, I said, yes, you're right, but guess what? I know that it's already been weaponized. The worst people in the world already have these technologies and they've been weaponized. Okay, the worst people. So let's at least bring out the ones that are the entry level, stage 1, level 1 technology, so we create the world of our dreams with no pollution and free energy and abundance and the end of poverty. And this is not a utopian vision. This could have happened 100 years ago, certainly 50 years ago. And it's time for us to say, no more delays. We're going to make this happen, but it has to come from inside out. And you cannot divorce the higher states of consciousness and the vision of how we need to live on this planet from the technologies. Because if you do, they just end up creating another weapon system. And I think this is where the movement in awareness and consciousness has to come together with the science and these technologies. But the real love that all of us should have for the earth and for the, there are 20,000 generations in this great waiting room, the matrix of consciousness. It's 500,000 years of beings ready to come to this planet. You can feel them. And we're sort of the bridge generation between an old era that's closing and another era that's opening. And the old era was 450,000 years. This new one's around 500,000. And so we're at that point in a million-year overall time period where we have to get this right. And it has to be the bringing together of the vision, the consciousness, and the use of these technologies for peaceful purposes all together. And I think this is what is the biggest task of this generation, of those of us who live on this planet. There's nothing bigger. Now, the civilizations who are coming here are waiting to see if we can get it right. But they're not. This is not something that can be imposed externally. I always tell people, avoid cosmic codependency. It's like a bumper sticker. Great bumper sticker. Avoid. What does that mean? Don't think that the ETs are going to come here. Everyone wants to either demonize them or deify them. No. They're here waiting for us to get this right so that we can join the interstellar family. And until we get it right, there's a sort of a quarantine. We're not allowed to go out there too far because we're considered not civilized. As Michikaku said, we're not even a level 1 civilization yet, which is peaceful, having energy and technologies that don't damage the biosphere and are living together as a peaceful civilization. We're not at a level 1. And the civilizations that are here are level 12, 15, 30. I mean, if you can go interstellar, and you haven't blown yourself up yet, you figured out a few things, all right? So, put the xenophobia aside. Think about this realistically. That's how we're going to have to make this happen, though, is understanding that our consciousness is the key. And the science of consciousness, the development of this, is not only the key to remote viewing and making contact, but creating a civilization where we look at that far horizon and we see, my God, what a world this could be. Right? Beautiful. And that's all waiting to happen. It's all waiting. But it isn't going to happen externally. No, they're here to help and to assist, and they're watching. But it's really got to be done. It's like us going to Afghanistan and trying to impose Jeffersonian democracy. Stupid. So, sorry. I mean, I don't mean to offend anyone, but hello. There has to be the citizens of the planet Earth, us children of Earth, have to have this come from within us. And we have to do it heart to heart, mind to mind. And so that's why I want you to feel the power of not only the consciousness within you, but the power of this vision. And I remember just before the National Press Club event in 2001, very stressful period. I mean, death threats galore, all kinds of machinations. And we went up to Joshua Tree National Park, and there's a cave. We call it the Shaman's Cave, and we went in there to meditate. And it's where you can see the petroglyphs in it. It looks like a UFO, actually. It's this domed thing. Nobody knows how to find it. We know how to find it. It's fun. And we went in there, and we were meditating, and there was this very clear message that came. You're the vision that must guide the world. And it was all based in this consciousness developing and spreading amongst humanity that allows for not only the disclosure and the veil to be pulled back on all these secrets, but these sciences and technologies to be brought out, but in non-harmful ways, in beneficial ways. And that is what really is the core. And we're going to take a break in a minute, but as we take this break, I want you to think about the power of that vision and thousands of people not only experiencing this state of consciousness, but then manifesting it. So once you learn to go into deep consciousness and remote view, you can also use that same technique to see that vision and see the world that's ready to be born. And I say we're sort of cosmic midwives. You know, there's this new world ready to emerge, and we need some skilled people to help in its transition. And that's our role.